Tell us who these two are, Mick.
Duh. De Niro and Pacino.
Duh.
Right. Showtime! Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lynn.
You do not get to watch my fucking television.
And to join us again, the podcaster with 1,000 potions, Mickey.
Hey, guys.
And last but not least, the podcaster, packing heat, Tony 2.0.
Who? What are you, a fucking owl?
All right. This week we will be discussing the 1995 thriller Heat, written and directed by Michael Mann. It stars the great Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore, and John Voight. Did he bite George Costanza's pencil? No, he didn't. It was the dentist, John Voight. As always, this actually, what was it? He was I can't remember the type of dentist he was. Shame on me.
Orthodontist.
Okay. This podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. If you can live that long, then come back and listen to the podcast. There's my cat. 1 minute into the podcast. Hoorah! Okay. I got a couple of facts on this one. Keanu Reeves was the first choice for the role of Chris Shirless, but he chose to perform in a Shakespearean play instead of taking a role in Heat. Got to give it to the man. He is dedicated to the craft. Number 2, Pacino revealed that for the scene in the restaurant between Hannah and Macaulay, Robert De Niro felt the scene should not be rehearsed so that the unfamiliarity between the two characters would seem more genuine. And I got to tell you, that is one hell of a scene. Am I right? Am I right?
You're right.
Affirmative.
Okay. Do you guys have any facts?
I do not. Oh, I do. I have a fact. This movie
sweet.
is too fucking long. That's my
Okay.
fact.
That's an opinion.
No, it is
right.
a fact, not an opinion.
I do have a fact, actually.
Okay.
This was the first time that these two had ever did a scene together on screen.
Yes.
Tell us who these two are, Mick.
Duh. De Niro and Pacino.
Duh.
Right. Let's transition into the Fast Five. Tonight's Fast Five is going to be Movie Snack Showdown. So I'm just going to give you a couple snacks. You're going to tell me which one is the superior snack while sitting in your seat, watching Heat, trying to hold a pee for 3 hours. Okay, Movie Snack Showdown. Number 1, Mike and Ike or Swedish Fish. Mickey, what do you like better?
Swedish Fish, I guess.
Okay, Glenn.
Who the fuck is eating Mike and Ike in this day and age? Next, Swedish Fish.
Okay, and Tony.
I'm going to take neither because they both stick to my teeth and it pisses me off.
I hear you, but you got to eat one in the Fast Five.
All right, fine. I'll go with the Swedish Fish.
The correct answer is Mike and Ike, because there's lots of different flavors in the box. You're all
Oh,
wrong.
God. They're fucking terrible.
Number 2, Goobers or Raisinets. Mickey, what do you like better?
Oh, Raisinets.
Okay, Dylan, how do you like your chocolate?
I'm going to answer this, but at the end, you need to tell everyone the goober story from the trip to LA.
Yeah.
Okay. I would take a Raisinette before a goober. Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
I'll concur on the Raisinets, please.
Come on, guys. Peanuts and chocolate, peanut butter and chocolate, two great tastes.
Not the
taste
same.
great together.
No,
I'll
the
eat a
peanuts
Reese's
are
before
not
that.
peanut butter.
Yeah.
It is when you chew it up. The correct answer is Goobers. The correct answer is Goobers. Raisinets suck. And nobody wants to eat a fucking
I
raisin.
love a Raisinette. I
Health
love a
food.
Raisinette.
It's garbage. It's
Bro,
all-
you
I'm
gotta
a-
expand your horizons, man. Come on.
no,
Dude,
Nope.
I'm a white person. I like raisins. What can I say?
Okay.
I don't know if that has anything to do with one or the other, but okay.
Do you like your raisins dipped in mayonnaise, wrapped in Wonder Bread? Okay.
No.
Okay. So we were going out to LA. My drummer was eating goobers on the plane. And when we got up to leave, we got off the plane. He had a big poop stain on his bum because he had been dropping goobers between his legs, not knowing, and they all melted. And when he got
Nice.
up there,
Wait,
it was
wait,
just
wait.
like 5 little peanuts.
Yes. The best part of the story is there was like 5 or 6 little clean peanuts in his chair because he had all the chocolate
my
was on
God.
his ass. So there was
Yeah.
like these little clean peanuts in his chair. And I was like, was he just sucking the chocolate off them? And Des looked at his ass and was like, no.
You know.
Oh my God.
Okay. Number
Told him
3.
not to wear those white pants.
Yeah. They were like stonewashed jeans or something goofy. All right, number 3. The 3-pack of Reese's peanut butter cups or a nice big box of Reese's Pieces. Mickey,
Oh, the peanut butter cups.
to Lynn,
Peanut butter cup.
and Tony.
Oh, hell yeah, with the cups.
Yeah, it's the cups. Only because you're getting the 3-pack. Okay?
No,
2-pack wouldn't be enough.
I would
For a
take
whole
a
movie?
single. I would take
No.
a
I would
single
too.
over Reese's peanut butter. Reese's-
No,
I would
no,
too,
no.
girl.
No,
Mhm.
you're going to want to be popping peanut butter into your mouth for the whole movie. So I can stretch out a 3-pack, but if we're talking a 2-pack, I'm going with the Reese's Pieces. Number 4, Boston baked beans or milk duds. Mickey,
Ew.
Oh, fucking milk duds, man.
to Lynn.
I don't like either of them. I don't like malted milk balls, and I don't like those Boston. What are they, anyways? They're disgusting.
They're just
Boston
gross.
baked beans. Okay.
Are
If you haven't had a
nasty.
Boston baked bean, make sure you run out and get one.
They're gross.
Get
They're
on.
fucking nasty.
Tony, which is it?
I think the ladies have covered all the ground on this one. It's Milk Duds, baby.
No, Boston baked beans are delicious. Go out and get a
No.
box. You none of you remember what's going on in a box
I
of
remember.
Boston baked beans.
They're disgusting, and the next time I
Yeah.
see a box, I'm going to bring it home so you can see just how gross they are.
They're fucking delicious. Okay. And last but not least, Sour Patch Kids or Twizzlers. Mickey,
Twizzlers.
to Lynn,
Sour Patch Kids.
Tony.
Twizzlers.
The correct answer is Twizzlers. You eat a whole box of Sour Patch Kids, you're going to be in the movie like, oh, my tummy hurts. No good.
I
No
will
good.
say what I have learned from all this that you guys can actually have snacks in your house and not fight over them.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, we fight about them.
Yeah, we fight about everything. Oh, God. All right. Box office with a box office budget of $60 million and a box office gross of $187 million. This movie was considered a huge success. Mr. Jinx agrees. All right, let me give you guys a synopsis. A group of high-end professional thieves start to feel the heat, no pun intended, from the LAPD when they unknowingly leave a verbal clue at their latest heist. You got that, Slick? All right. So, Lynn, let's break
All
this
right.
bitch down.
Let's fly through it because it's a long one. Our movie opens with professional thief Neil McCauley stealing an ambulance and one of his associates, Chris, purchasing some explosive charges legally and with cash. Meanwhile, we get a glimpse into the life of Lieutenant Vincent Hanna, a robbery homicide detective for the Los Angeles Police Department. So my note for this, this is like almost like a 20-minute scene getting us into the beginning of the movie. I couldn't figure out when they were showing the opening credits why Natalie Portman was so low in the credits. I was like, Natalie Portman's a big star. Why is she so low in the credits? And I was like, oh, because she's 14 in this movie.
Yeah, unknown.
Pretty much. I think she'd already done The Professional, but I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
She did Beautiful Girls too.
Is that
Ah.
it? Is that what we're
That's
talking
it,
about?
literally, because
Okay.
this is how we're going to get through it.
I'll get us started. So this scene of Al Pacino banging his girlfriend or whatever it is fucking weird. He's furry. He's old. It's like watching like your dad do it with his 20-something new girlfriend. It was yuck. I didn't like it. It made me feel uncomfortable. And then I had to watch him shower that fuzzy chest. I could have done without any of this. All of it. She's like laying there. She's like, I just can't catch my breath. Smoking another cigarette.
You weren't sure if she was, kind of climaxing or if she was having an asthma attack. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he was in the shower. I mean, he was done, and she was laying in bed like hyperventilating, smoking like cigarettes 2 at a time. I'm like, come on.
Well, I think the point of the first scene is the great contrast between Neil and Pacino's Lieutenant Vincent Hanna, because Neil is all business and Hannah's a little out there. You know what I mean? And they're letting you know what you're going to get into right off the bat. Michael Mann loves to tell stories, and Neil is just consummate professional. And you find out through the plot that, his head's always on a swivel. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's all business and no bullshit. Vincent, well, he's he's all over the place. He's a little flighty, but he's there to get a job done too. So they're just painting the picture for you.
Yeah, and I think they do a great job of it. And the problem with this movie is definitely not going to be De Niro and Al Pacino. These two are, oh man, they're so good in this. Both of them are so good in this. You have to root for them both simultaneously. Very difficult to do when you're writing a movie. Usually you're going to pick one side or the other, but I from the opening mark, I'm like, I don't care which one wins. Hoorah! It was fucking great. Mikki, have you seen this before, Mikki?
I had seen it several times. I saw it at the theater when it came out, and then I ended up, I think I own it. And for me, like that opening scene, like De Niro, they just showing him like what he's just fucking cool. Like I don't care if you're not a Robert De Niro fan, which I am. Even if you're not, you have to admit, especially in that scene, he's just like the epitome of fucking cool. He's just slick. He looks good. He's casing everything. He just looks, he's just like nothing can rile him. And then the scene with Al Pacino, it was a little odd because I think Al Pacino's, is a very handsome guy. That was an odd scene. And I understand like what Tony said, they're trying to show the contrast of the personalities, but it was a little weird. And I said to Tony last night, as I was watching that scene with Al Pacino, and then a scene a little bit later on with De Niro, I said, I don't think Robert De Niro has ever done a love scene. Like Pacino's done love scenes in like Sea of Love and this movie last night, Heat. I don't think De Niro's ever done a love scene.
All right, let's keep rolling.
All right. Neil, Chris, and 3 other men, Trejo, Waingro, and Michael Chirito, carry out the robbery of an unarmored car. Using the ambulance, a stolen tractor trailer, they knock over the armored car and use explosives to open the back up, stealing bearer bonds. Waingro is a psychopath that shoots one of the guards, and now that one of them is dead, the others are all killed to tie up loose ends. Michael calls Waingro slick at some point in this scene, and this becomes a tiny thread for the LAPD to follow. As the police descend upon the area, Neil and his crew pile out of the ambulance a few blocks away and firebomb it before escaping. So this guy Waingro is fucking bad news from the jump. Like, you just know he's a bad dude. And granted, this is in a crew of bad dudes, but he's extra bad. And I could tell, right? I mean, and it's the coding, it's the mullet and the half bald head and the
giant swastika on his chest.
Well,
Well, you don't see that until a little later, but yeah, that's called a clue.
I'm just
assuming. In police work, we call that a clue. Yeah.
I meet guys like this. I just assume they have a giant swastika tattooed on their chest.
That's probably a fair assumption.
Oh my God. So I love the scene with them knocking over the truck. Like, it's crazy. Like, who even thinks of this? Diabolical. And I love it. It's very cool.
One of the things I love about these opening scenes and a lot of this, and actually the entire movie, is one, they use practical effects and everything. Like, this is like they're really fucking taking this thing out. Like, wow. And I guess people that were on the set were like, holy shit, they just fucking T-boned a fucking bank truck with a fucking dump truck or whatever it was. It was sick.
Yeah, tractor trailer.
Yeah. And no sets were built for this movie at all. Everything was shot on location in Los Angeles. So this movie's set in Los Angeles, and it's actually shot in Los Angeles. So the movie looks great. I mean, it just does. the heist is great. You got the hockey masks. And I really like the scene between Wangro and the guard that's kind of eyeballing him. And the dude's just not having it. He said, fucking eyeball me. You're fucked. Shoots him. Like, yeah, okay, this is great. Good start to the movie. Tony, what do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Michael Mann is known as a guy who does his homework, and obviously he scouted great spots here. It's the kind of thing too where, he's wicked on all of his films, even back in the 70s and the 80s, where he's reality based. I mean, these guys obviously know what they're doing. They've thought of every possible option. They lay a homemade spike strip for the cops that they know are got about a 3-minute response time. They're on a clock. They're consummate pros. You see it and you know it. And then they get this fucking cowboy Waingro who's going to stop popping people. And they know that, as soon as they get clear, they're going to part ways with him. But long and the short, without foreshadowing, they're a very tight crew, and they got their shit hardwired, and they're good to go. So
they're a very tight crew, and you're like, why are they bringing this guy in? They don't need him. You know what I mean? They don't need him. But of course, we need him for the plot of the movie. But they don't need him. They wouldn't bring this guy on the job, in my opinion. It's like the dead presidents from what's the movie with Keanu Reeves? With the
yeah.
No, Point Break.
Point Break. Like, they're not bringing some fucking Johnny Bananas on. Like, they've got their crew. They're tight. This is how they operate. So, but I'm fine with it. But I'm just saying, I don't think they would have brought this guy on. Mickey, what do you think?
I really love the scene. Like Dylan said, I love, it was just so well thought out. Cause like, I mean, in the rare occasions that you hear about shit like this, like in real life, it's never like that cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's never, it's never executed as cool as that. And I also love the scene because I didn't realize, like, when I watched it again, how many different people are in this movie. Like, Danny Trejo, I fucking love him.
Yep.
I didn't realize that one of Pacino's partners or whatever was Bubba from Forrest Gump. Like,
Yeah.
the guy from the guy from Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
Ted Levine,
Yeah, and then it's like to the point where, like, the armored truck driver, I was like, I know that guy. He was like, they had this bit part in like Jurassic Park Lost World. Like, I'm like, oh, that was the guy that like let the other guy die. Like, so many people were I didn't even realize how many people were in this movie until I watched it again. But that scene was so well done. Just the way they blocked it, and just like T-boning that armored car. And then when they first went in, I'm like, oh, there's not even any money in it. Like, I didn't realize what they were doing.
Right.
And he's just pulling out envelopes. I'm like, what is going on? They're going to be pissed. Like, there's nothing in it. And then I realized what they were doing. And then when Waingro was like messing with that guard, like, I couldn't tell if, I mean, obviously the guard had like shell shock or whatever from the noise, but like, I couldn't tell if he was really like staring him and freaking him out, or if the guy just wanted an excuse to just shoot somebody.
Yeah, no, I'd say the latter over the former.
Yeah.
We're going to find out later he's a serial killer. So this guy just loves to kill, and those guys couldn't hear from the blast. Levine was originally cast for Waingro, but he refused the role because he did not want to start being typecast as that character after doing The Silence of the Lambs. So
it was bad enough you're Buffalo Bill. I mean, the guy you're known for is one of the worst serial killers ever.
Yeah, so he was like, I don't want to be the serial killer guy, so they got him a new role, but that was the role they originally wanted for him.
She's a great big fat person.
Exactly.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Don't you have my dog?
That's one we got to do for sure.
Yeah, that's the best part. He's that absolutely maniacal serial killer who cares more precious the dog. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Precious is precious.
That's right.
I gotta say though, so with this movie, they were obviously shooting for the caliber of a movie like Casino or Goodfellas, and it's not that. And the reason it's not that is because these character actors that they surround De Niro and Al Pacino with, they're just not great character actors. I mean, yeah, Ted Sizemore, he's fun. I love him. Fucking, William Fichtner, he's okay. Val Kilmer, this is his worst performance in any movie. This is not Doc Holliday. They all look like Hollywood character actors that have been kind of dressed up to play the part. Like, hey, let's put a little ponytail on Val Kilmer and let's put a little, and it starts to feel like that movie that we did with you, Mickey, Strange Days.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it starts to kind of feel like that, where with movies like Heat and Casino, you take these heavy hitters like De Niro and Joe Pesci, and then you surround them with like fucking Sharon Stone and just all these amazing actors, and it creates a real world feel. And same with Goodfellas. You're just surrounding great actors.
I gotta butt in because Des, this movie is gritty as shit, and it's real world as real world gets. I think that's why he actually picked these guys, because that's the plan for Michael Mann films.
These actors,
he's not a glitz and glamour guy.
These actors don't cut it. These actors do not stand up to what Al Pacino and De Niro were doing. They look out of place in this movie. There's a couple of actors that are hanging with them, but if you're going to have 40 actors in a movie, you can't just have like 3 of the character actors stepping up to the plate and the rest of them just being these like almost giving B actor performances and really bad Hollywood wardrobe looks that just don't feel legit to me. These don't feel like real. Yeah, these wardrobe choices.
Okay.
These don't feel like real people to me, is what I'm saying. Pacino, yeah. De Niro, yeah. But the rest of them, they don't feel like real people to me, is what I'm saying. Where in Casino and Goodfellas, I get completely lost in that cast. These are all real people. Ray Liotta. I mean, you're just like, oh my God, these are real people. This movie didn't have that for me. Anyway, as fun as it was.
I think he was disturbed by Val Kilmer's wig.
No, and his performance. But I mean, just all of them. Ted Sizemore, he's campy. He's just not, he is no Joe Pesci. He is no, James Gandolfini. I mean, you're just not getting that caliber of actor in this movie to keep pace with these 2 superstars giving this amazing performance.
Right, but I also think that Michael Chirito is not a lead character, so Tom Sizemore doesn't have to be a great actor. He says it when they're talking about the bank job. He's like, Neil, whatever, I'm with you, I roll with you. This guy's not a leader. He's a fucking follower. His job is to do whatever small part Neil McCauley sets out for him and to do it the best he can. His slice of the pie is bullshit compared to the rest of the film because he's a bullshit kind of guy. He's a whatever. He's like a how do you say it correctly? He's a laborer. You know what I mean? He's not management.
He's an actor that shows up in a lot of bad movies, and there's a reason why.
Right, but I mean, his character in this movie is what I'm saying. Tom Sizemore never going to win an Oscar in general. I gotcha, but it's the idea that he plays this character because this character is written to be an accessory. He's not.
Yeah, the character's fine, and all the characters are fine. It's the actors that are playing it that's the problem for me. And it's not a problem. I love this movie. It's just not what they're billing it as. This is not a classic. This is not one of those movies like Casino.
All right, moving on. Neil meets with Nate, his money laundering expert. Nate tells Neil that the envelope they stole contains hundreds of millions in bearer bonds owned by a crooked entrepreneur named Roger Van Zant. Nate agrees to set up a meeting where Van Zant will send somebody with cash to exchange for the bonds. Nate tells Neil of another job offered by a man named Kelso that will bring in at least $10 million. Neil agrees to meet with Kelso. At the scene of the heist, Hannah arrives and begins investigating. With Hannah are his team of detectives, Casals, Bosco, Drucker, and Schwartz. There are no leads except for the nickname Slick that was overheard by a homeless man. And I'll pause here because I really thought that I liked Nate. I liked John Voight in this role, especially with that really gross stringy hair, wig, whatever it was. He just looks so scummy. I loved it.
Yeah, John Voight was one of the actors that had the chops. High points. Yeah, had the chops to hang with these guys. He felt real world to me. I liked him. I like John Voight in this a lot. Tony, what you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You would think too, for a guy, John Voight is like the fixer. You need a passport, got it. Driver's license to pass the check, got it. What do you want? Guns? No problem, got them. You know, he does everything. He's like the fixer of all problems. Yet he's wearing like a sport coat made out of old drapes from a motel in the 70s. He needs a haircut. He needs he's
Yeah.
got pockmarks. You know, he's seedy as shit. And he plays
Absolutely.
that role. So you're absolutely right.
So
But
this
lots of fun.
isn't my choice for the recasting couch, but I want to give you an example of what I mean. So John Voight, he's good, but can you imagine if this was Harvey Keitel? It would be 1,000 times
It
better.
would be Pulp Fiction.
But that's why I didn't choose him. And
Okay.
like for Val Kilmer, I was like, how about a young fucking Ray Liotta? 1,000 times better. But I didn't choose it because it's obvious. I went with other people that aren't obvious that would have made this movie better. But this is my point. You take out Val Kilmer, you put in Ray Liotta, a young Ray Liotta, and the movie's an ocean of depth compared to what we have here. And these are the actors that would have made this Casino or would have made this
Wow.
The Goodfellas.
You can't stop retreading this tire, huh?
No, I can't because it's such a shame that the script was so good and De Niro and Al Pacino were so good and they were so close.
I'm going to challenge that. The script is not good.
Oh, it
The
is.
script.
No, I
No,
agree.
hold on. The script is not good, and this is the caveat. In this 3-hour long movie, you have an hour and a half blockbuster dynamite script that is so bogged down with extra exposition, extra scenes, extra characters, extra. Like, you need to rip this thing apart and put all the good shit together. And you have like an hour and a half to a 2-hour long movie that is slick as shit.
Okay, let me rebut that. So Casino is almost as long as this movie, and so is Goodfellas. And you know why it flies? Because all of the performances are being delivered by actors of the caliber of fucking Ray Liotta and fucking Harvey Keitel and Joe Pesci, like masters of their craft. So it can go for 3.5 hours and you don't lose focus because it's not Val Kilmer sucking his thumb on the floor.
I'll tell you what, just to modify both of those, because you both make a good point in and of themselves. The problem is this script is written for 2 actors. Everybody else is basically an afterthought, because the whole point of the movie is to elevate De Niro and Pacino's character, to contrast and compare them, and then to show the male bonding in the scene where they go for coffee right before they have to hit the climax of the film, because that's where you're like, boom, this is it.
Okay, but if that's
my other thing too is, though, if you put like Keitel in there, he's too much, man. He doesn't play bit parts. He doesn't do little shit. He's gonna bump somebody else off the screen.
He was the wolf in Pulp Fiction. He played a great supporting role in Pulp Fiction. He was great.
Yeah, but he didn't do Harvey Keitel shit. Harvey Keitel is Bad Lieutenant, baby. Harvey Keitel, he needs to be the man in the forefront. If you give him Mr. Wolf, then I could have 50 guys play that role. Ray Liotta plays a guy named Figgis in Copland, who is the same fucking character as Chris Shiherlis. He can't do anything right. He's always suspect. He's got a drinking alcohol or gambling problem. He loses his love interest, and then he's now suspect by his crew, because they all think, because of all the dumb shit he's done, he's not fucking trustworthy.
So that's why
he's the exact same character, just in a different movie.
And a much better actor.
Well, I'll give you credit there.
Yeah, and the thing is like, you have to think about it this way too, is that Chris is such a train wreck, and it's like, look at Val Kilmer doing Doc Holliday. Look at him doing Jim Morrison. Look at him in Top Gun. He's amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't care. He's Iceman, right?
Yeah, he's fucking amazing in all of these movies. I mean, like, perfect. And I even can tolerate his Batman, which is saying a lot because it's pretty shitty, but I can tolerate it.
Maybe he was just having a bad month. Who knows?
But Tony, like you were saying, it's about the 2 main characters. That's what this movie is about. But if that's what it's going to be about, then don't give me 17 other subplots and force, 30 other actors into the movie. Like Delaney said, if it's going to be just De Niro and Al Pacino, then I want an hour and a half of them just going head to head. Give me their stories, maybe a couple of other very small players around them. You're adding too much, and this supporting cast does not have the chops to fucking carry this 3 hours of subplots. Just doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that, but I also agree with DeLynn to the idea that there isn't a lot of meat on the bone script-wise to really blossom a great actor into any of these sub roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the point, right? You take those scenes out, and now the supporting actors are just supporting. Like I said to Des, we were talking about it yesterday. Sizemore, his family, that scene where they're all out to dinner, and he's got his family, and there's a ring, and it's like, oh my god, cut. You take all that out. You never need to know about his family. I can see.
But wait a minute. Here's the thing. There, Michael Mann is trying to show you because the next scene is all the cops out
doing
after
the
he
same
saw
thing.
the bad guys out doing family
too.
shit.
Yeah.
He's trying to force you to see that these are real people.
Yeah.
They're doing real things. They have real concerns.
Yeah.
And then the police are all out doing their thing, and they're equally as fucked up, even though there's good versus bad, or
I think they had that
evil
scene
versus good, or whatever.
I think they had that scene too to show you that, Robert De Niro and his crew all have someone in their lives, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's why they had it. Although I agree that scene was kind of like, why do we need this? We already know that he doesn't have anybody in his life.
They're showing that De Niro and Al Pacino are the same. They have their family. It's their crew. This guy's the cops. These guys are the bad guys. They're basically the same guy, two sides of the same coin.
And they're living their job, and they're
they're living their job.
But I feel like they're beating me over the head with it as opposed to just letting it happen naturally.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
And De Niro would never be like, hey, guys, let's all get together in the same public place in the city that we're fucking pulling off heists.
Yeah,
these guys would almost never meet in person.
No, unless they were working on a heist. But yeah. At the truck stop diner in a different part of town, the rest of the crew and Waingro wait for Neil. He tells them all that Waingro has forfeited his share of the heist, and he beats him briefly in full view of the other diners, because, of course, you don't try to draw attention to yourself or anything. No. Neil knows that killing the guards has made them a bigger target for the LAPD. The crew leaves the diner, and Neil attacks Waingro, intent on killing him. He gets distracted by a black and white, and Waingro gets away. At home, Chris gets into a heated argument with his wife Charlene about money. He's got a gambling problem. They fight, and he leaves mad. Neil meets with Kelso and is told about the main downtown branch of the Far East National Bank. The bank holds about $10 million on certain days, and with reprogramming the security system, the heist is possible. After Neil agrees to Kelso's terms for the intel, Nate, the money launderer, gives him Van Zant's number to set up an exchange for the bearer bonds. So I'm going to back up to the scene where a seasoned pro like Neil lets Waingro get away. Are you fucking kidding me? No, that's not happening. He doesn't see a black and white and go, ooh, and freak out. He's got his fucking foot on Waingro's neck. He's not going anywhere. Come on.
I agree.
He's not beating him up. He's just going to pop him in the head the moment he gets him on his back. It's over.
Yeah. As Des said earlier, it's expeditious for the plot to have Waingro in there and get away. But when you've planned the job down to the fact that they line the trunk of the car with garbage bags so they don't have to clean up the blood, these boys aren't doing their first rodeo, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes. Tony, they're not inviting him out for breakfast for the hit. They're going to be like, listen, we've got your money. You're going to meet us behind whatever building. We'll give it to you. They're not going to be like, let's go to Denny's. We'll kill him in the parking lot of Denny's. Like, no.
Nothing personal. This group is supposed to be portrayed as having no compunction with that. So I really believe that they could give two shits. I mean, you've lived in L.A.
No.
You think that doesn't happen every fucking day? I was in LA for 16 hours. I saw 4 crimes occur directly in front of me, one of which led to a high-speed pursuit. I'm like, when is somebody going to yell cut? They're like, no, that fucking really happened. That's not a movie.
Neil McCauley is not going to choose a all-night diner to pull this hit. It's just there's no reason to.
I think the only difference there is that Waingro's not going behind the building to meet him because he's a psychopath, but he's not an idiot.
He has no idea that these guys are going to hit him or have
he knows.
Problem.
He knows they're displeased.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
If you think, because he's already manufacturing excuses before he even sits down at the table.
Yeah,
right?
I don't buy this. I don't buy this is not where the hit would go down. It's not where wise guys hit guys.
Yeah, well, who knows? But it was.
Let's go
he's
for a
not
drive.
getting away. Let's just say he's not getting away. Period. Like. I
Right.
not
but
half.
they're-
It's expeditious to the plot.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we
But
saw in fucking Goodfellas, you know, he gets the screwdriver in the back of the neck when let's go out for dinner. They all get into the car and he with his fucking ice pick to the back of the neck. Please
The
take it
scene
apart.
when they're sitting in the diner though, and De Niro just takes his head and slams it on the table. I fucking love that. Like, that's like De Niro at his finest. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
love
Right
like
on. It's the whole violence of action. You know, he sits down and he's calm and cool, and then all of a sudden it's just, I own you. I'm going to dominate you, and you're not going to even fucking fight back
Yep.
because
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stun the piss out of you, and you're not even going to think twice.
And it's fun when the other diner gives the look like, what's going on? And then De Niro kind of looks at him like, just
Sizemore just
back.
leans his head out like,
Yeah.
"What are you going to do?"
Yeah,
And the
just-
guy's like, "I'll go right back to reading my paper."
I'm just going to eat my hotcakes. It's all good.
Well, and you know the difference. If you see an incident like that, 99.9% of the people are going to do the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not,
Not
yeah.
my problem.
No.
I'm not even
One
looking.
one dipshit will take out their cell phone and try and film it, but that'll go poorly.
Is it
Yeah,
just me, or was this the same coffee shop from Pulp Fiction?
I don't
Because it
think so.
looks so similar.
For me, it looks like the same one from Casino where they call and find out Nicky's been whacked.
Maybe it's just one of those ones that is in town and they just use it for everything.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, moving on. Neil returns to his nearly empty Oceanside apartment and finds Chris sleeping on the floor after the argument with his wife. Neil and he talk, and Neil reminds him of the mantra to not have anything in his life that he could not walk away from if the heat came looking for them in 30 seconds. Later, Neil sets up arrangements to transfer the bonds. He's at a payphone making arrangements when he sees Chris's wife with another man, Alan Marciano. One of the Van Zandt's bookies calls back to inform Neil that the meeting will be tomorrow at a drive-in movie theater. Afterward, Neil confronts Charlene. He instructs her to give Chris another chance, and if he messes up again, Neil himself will personally set her up with a new life. That night, Hannah goes to meet an informant. The guy has little in the way of information, but he does mention a guy that everyone calls Slick. Vincent presses and gets the man's name, Chirito. He calls his unit immediately and tells them to set up extensive surveillance on everyone around Chirito and everyone he associates with. So, honey, who was this guy? The informant?
What I don't know. What was it?
It's
Tone
Tone
Loc?
Tone
Loc.
Loc.
It's Tone
Okay,
Loc.
yeah, Tone Loc.
He was
Funky
Funky
Cole
Cole
Medina.
Medina.
Not a good actor. Not a good actor. This is a problem. This is what
Right,
makes this
but
movie
let's be
cheap.
real. These are two guys, him and his cousin Ricky, whatever the hell his name is, Harris. Neither one of them are good. But what does the one guy say? He goes, "You're a fucking speed freak." He goes, "It's called an addiction issue, sir." Right? This guy is great because let's be real. I think they found him. He was on a corner dealing 3-card money, taking money off tourists. That's why they cast him in this role, because this guy is the street. I mean, even the scene where they go and they find him, it's a fucking dogfighting ring, and in the back it's a chop shop, and it's made out of like corrugated tin and fucking, old tarps.
Yeah.
And it is East LA. It's truly there. And then as they were walking up, because they all know they're cops, the guys that are doing the work are running in the other direction, hoping to not get arrested. They don't give a shit about these guys.
I thought Ricky Harris was good. I mean, he gave me a very Miami Vice feel. Like, he was fine. Good informant. He did the job. But when you pair him up with Tone Loc giving us that campy, ridiculous performance, it just brought the movie down. These guys don't... it was camp. It was very camp. It felt...
I think the whole point of those two guys are just to let Pacino do the yelling Pacino scent of a woman... Don't waste my motherfucking time. That's just to get more Pacino out of Pacino.
Yeah,
because these guys, they're non-essential characters, but it's the kind of thing where, he's got to draw everything out of them. So what are you saying? Well, this guy, and he's not doing nothing, so he's doing something. Like, that's a theory in life.
Tone Loc was ridiculous.
You know the deal. Everybody likes a cameo. That's about what he got. So
I didn't.
I did not enjoy his cameo.
I did not
Well,
enjoy
put
it.
it this way: if it was Quentin Tarantino, he's definitely the worst actor in every film he ever did. So there you go.
Here's other problems that I had too, like the relationship between Chris and Charlene.
Yeah,
It never, like, I didn't care. They didn't, there was no character building. There was no investment in that relationship. So at the end, when she gives them, I just don't care. They don't feel like they're in love. Doesn't feel like there's any stakes here. It's just flat.
Well, see, that to me, this is the problem with the overabundance of characters, the overabundance of storylines, the overabundance. You don't care. And I'm jumping ahead, but when Hannah's stepdaughter tries to kill herself, I didn't care. Like,
Right.
You saw her twice in the movie.
Yep.
And she was
Yep.
incidental.
And-
you're trying to force me to like her. You're trying to force me to care about her. You're trying to force me to care about Dominic and Charlene. And I don't.
I think a lot of the female characters in this movie are just shitty, not that because they're poorly acted, but more because they're poorly written.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
his
agree.
wife, she's probably a great actress, but she didn't have a lot to work with. So even Natalie Portman, you know, she's obviously got issues, but they're all like tertiary, you know, considerations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole idea where they give the thing where she went to your house and chose to commit suicide so you'd find her. I don't know if that's really a compliment, but that's what they make it sound like. Like he's
I
the only
know.
one that gives a shit.
No, and we don't get any screen time between Lauren and Vincent in this movie where she's confiding in him and he wants to be her dad. And, you know, they set up this big thing where Vincent just hates her father for being a shit and dogging her and never being there for her. But there's no payoff. Vincent never fucking bumps into this guy
Right.
during the movie.
Well, you know what, Des? That meant the cutting room floor because the movie was 4.5 hours long and they had to cut all those fucking scenes
then
out.
don't introduce it. Don't introduce it at all. Then this is a whole
Right.
subplot that never pays off.
But then Natalie Portman's character doesn't exist, so they had to put her in the film.
She didn't need to exist in this. She
Right.
didn't.
No,
need
you're
to be
right.
in the
I
movie.
agree. She didn't
But-
need to be in there.
Again, she's only there to show you Vincent as compassionate and, you know.
But he never plays compassionate, really.
No, he does. He's hugging
does
that,
with her.
that girl's mother when the girl gets killed. It's like
Sure.
he shows that he's compassionate and he does what he does because he cares about it and he loves it. But
That was
I
a
also feel
fantastic
like-
scene, by the way.
yeah, but I feel like they could have picked and chosen, like, keep the serial killer thing, but pull out Chris's background and pull out the suicidal
The
daughter.
serial killer. We don't need a serial killer in this fucking movie. I mean, come on, man. But I thought that, you know how Neil gets his scene with Chris's wife, where he says, "You're gonna fucking try. You're gonna go back and try."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I wanted from Vincent. I wanted him to hunt down her husband, Lauren's father, and do the same thing. You're gonna fucking be there for her, or I'm gonna kill you. Period.
Yeah, that's well said. And you could probably fit that in 3 minutes, you know?
And I needed it as a payoff at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Good-
definitely
good
take
point.
other things out. Take out the black driver and the girlfriend and the working at the greasy spoon.
Right,
Take
yeah.
all of that out. You don't
The
need
Allstate
any of
guy.
that. You get all that time back and you do that scene instead.
Okay, so what I loved about that scene, though, that you're wanting to cut is this. It gives us a look into the life of what it is to be a convict.
Yeah,
And people
true.
are always like, why can't they just fucking, get their shit together? And why do they go back? This is why. Because they come out of prison and they're treated like dogs.
Yeah.
And this guy's
It's
like,
true.
if you want to work, I'm taking 20% of your fucking money, shut the fuck up and go fucking do dishes. And the guy's like, what the fuck? And I think it's kind of important in a movie like this. I thought it was a pretty good message.
That's fair.
It only took up a couple of minutes, and I actually felt a little bad when he got killed and the girlfriend sees him on the, in the bar.
The news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least it had a little emotion, and I kind of felt the love between them. In the 2 minutes they're on screen together, they built way more faith with me than an hour of Chris and fucking Charlene, which just never felt like they even knew each other.
Agree. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Gummies and coffee. Old man
This is what
speedball.
happens. All right. The handoff for the exchange at the drive-in goes tits up, and they end up killing the two guys that had come to do the same thing to them. The package that was supposed to be all cash is just scrap paper. Neil later calls Van Zant and tells him to forget about the payment and threatens to kill him. What Neil's crew doesn't realize is that Wingro is still around, and he's actually a serial killer, and eventually he's going to end up working for Van Zant, but that's jumping ahead. We get a scene with Neil and his crew attempting a heist at a precious metals repository while Hannah and his men watch. Neil gets spooked and pulls everyone off the job, and they drive away. Hannah has nothing to arrest them on. Still telling them later they watch as the men talk in a shipyard, making waving gestures with their arms and pointing at different things. Hannah shows up to try to figure out what they were talking about, only to realize it was a ploy to get him and his team out in the open so Neil knows who's following him. When Neil meets with Nate to pick up the schematics for Kelso's bank heist, Nate tells him about Hannah, who has a long and successful history of taking down major criminals, and that Hannah admires Neil. Neil decides that the heist is still worth the risk. So I love the scene in the shipyard. It cracked me up so hard because as soon as he was like, I know what they're looking at, I'm like, they're looking at you. And sure enough, they're looking at them.
We've just been made. Yeah. It's a fucking great scene. And these guys have a little smirk between them from like 2 football fields away. Yeah. Even though fucking Pacino can't actually see fucking De Niro, you know, he looks in that direction. De Niro sees him. They both smile. And it's fucking great. This is great. These are 2 cowboys. This is a Western. And we're going to get the super, super camp Western shot at the end where, I'm jumping ahead, but whatever. When they have the shootout at the airport in the field, we're actually going to get the close-up of one eye, then the close-up of the other eyes. I'm like, holy shit, this is an old fucking Western. This is crazy. It's so good. But come on. How the fuck does Chris not see this guy sneaking up on the side of the car?
Because he's preoccupied. That's the point.
But these are such a tight crew. They don't make mistakes. I mean,
everybody makes mistakes. Number one. Number two, my favorite is he has a sniper rifle, but he has no scope. So double shame on you, Christopher, because you fucked the dog. And then he gets up. He's in the prone position. He gets up and takes an offhand shot from a knee at 100 yards and takes the guy out in the chest. Okay, why don't you learn to fly while you're at it? You know? So for a guy like Michael Mann, who's known for his reality-based shit, he went off the fucking deep end on this whole deal.
I fucking hated this scene, Tony, for all the reasons you're saying. I hated this scene. He's in a wide open field, basically, on a building. All sight lines are good. He can't see this guy getting out of the car and sneaking up the side. And then Neil's going to catch him with a shadow. It's just like, no, none of it. Hated it.
Although I love the fact that you disable the shooter by squishing him in between the truck and the car.
I did like that.
Great way to get rid of a guy. And they do a nice job of showing you his fucked up leg and arm. They're all bloody and broken.
But then when Neil is bearing down on him with the car shooting through the windshield, it's like, come on, this guy is just no. It's all beyond over the top for 4 guys doing a drop in a parking lot and one of them having a sniper on a roof. Like, this is all crazy.
Also, like trimming stuff down and getting rid of the fluff, if you will. I love Henry Rollins, but I don't understand the point of his character at all.
Awful.
Oh. Yeah.
He didn't really do anything.
Cameo. It was a cameo.
Terrible. He didn't even look tough. Like they took what's tough about Henry Rollins, and this is what I was trying to say in the beginning.
Right, and they put him in a turtleneck.
Yes, they made him look.
What the fuck? No one looks tough in a turtleneck. It's a rule.
This is what I'm saying. When you were like wardrobe-aided or whatever, I said this is what I mean. This is a bad choice.
Yeah, I'm more scared of Fitchner than I am of fucking of the what was his name, Ujemi.
I want Henry Rollins in his fucking black T-shirt with his black flag tattoo showing and his hair fucking. That's the Henry Rollins
with every vein in his neck popping out and his head ready to explode.
Yes, like me right now.
Then the best part is he has 5'9", 100 and nothing pounds Pacino throw him through a fucking glass window like it wasn't even a big deal. He's just gonna pitch you through the door.
Guys, I have recast this entire movie and I sent it to Tony Original, who fancies himself as quite a director himself. And he was like, wow, I want to see that version of Heat. Wow. Okay. Right. When I give you guys this, you're going to be like, fuck, that's the movie.
So also, this is another scene that I would have cut. This precious metal scene. Pointless. I get it. The whole thing is showing that Neil will walk away if something doesn't feel right. I get it. But it's way too long.
And it wasn't clever. And it wasn't clever. The way he sniffs it out is not clever. Like what did he hear? Like one of the guys dropped a pen in the truck, or
he whacked his rifle against the side of the truck.
Yeah.
Sadly, you know what it does show really well It shows you the general ineptitude of a police force, even one as good as the LAPD on most things. It's still a Chinese fucking fire drill. The one guy's like, "We're going in." The other guy's like, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing because you get to see Vincent's commitment.
Yes.
What am I going to lock him up for? Some B&E bullshit. They're going to, plea bargain to a misdemeanor. They'll be out in 45 days versus I'm dedicated to get these guys doing what they do. And we're not going to take no for an answer.
So what I wanted here, and we almost got it. So when Neil decides to give up on this, you'll see this scene where Al Pacino sees him in the surveillance camera, and he's looking right in his face. I wish the guy hadn't dropped the pen. I wish everything was going good. And Neil just like, give me a little bit of like Yoda shit, like Yoda bad guy. Like I want him to just look dead into that camera and just give a smirk, or just give us one of those De Niro faces that just says, I know you're there. And, and then just call it off and leave and put a little bit more of that, like, oh, this guy is just so good. You know what I mean? They almost had it. They almost had it there. And it was very good. Like, I still got a little chill when he looked into that camera, but
right.
I wanted him to let Al Pacino know with one of those looks. I know you're watching me. I'm looking right at you. You know what I mean?
And I'm leaving.
And by the way, I'm looking right through the back of your head and 1,000 yards past you because you're not that much to begin with.
And what would have been nice is it would have been a great play off the scene we got in the shipyard where De Niro can see Al Pacino and he gives the smile. Well, in this, you could have flipped it around and Pacino could have been looking at De Niro and De Niro could have given the wink like, I know you're watching me right now.
Yeah.
Come on. Hoorah!
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Well, and there is a little kind of subtlety to the idea that it's infrared and the movie's called Heat.
Yes.
So,
and I also did like that you couldn't completely make out Macaulay's face in that infrared shot, which was really neat. Yeah. So, okay, cool. We should write a movie.
This is how it starts. Hannah decides to join a surveillance team trailing Neil in unmarked cars and a helicopter on the LA freeway. Hannah pulls Neil over and invites him to coffee. They go to a diner and talk about what it is that they do, what their lives are like, and the dreams that they have. They part ways saying that they'll take one another out if it comes down to it. Neil explains he's prepared to walk away from everything in 30 seconds if Hannah comes for him. The crew is working on the bank heist, but Trejo gets waylaid by cops tailing him. He drives away for the meeting spot to keep the cops away from Neil. Needing a driver, Neil spots a former prison friend at the diner who hates his job and takes the chance to be Neil's driver. With his wife being beaten and raped by Waingro and Van Zant's crew, Trejo is forced to reveal Neil's latest plan. One of Van Zant's subordinates, a police informant named Hugh Benny, shout out to Henry Rollins in his turtleneck, then tips off the police as to which bank Neil plans to hit. So there's a lot of scenes that I just covered real quick here, but the coffee shop scene, I think we should spend a couple minutes there.
Yeah, it's fucking everything.
Yeah.
Good.
It was like
Tony, talk about
one of the best
scene.
scenes in forever.
I'm sorry, Mick, what?
I said that was one of the best scenes, I think, in like cinema.
Yeah, and even DeLynn, I agree with you. You think that the scene where James Hastert's character, and I apologize, his name escapes me in the film, but he's this grill man who just basically got grilled by this jerk ass, owner, manager, whatever he is.
Yeah.
And, he sees Neil and, he just perfectly looks away and goes, yeah, fuck it. Because he's in a yeah, fuck it mentality right now. And he's like, I know you know how to drive and handle the scanners and radios and, you're my man and we're doing it right now. One answer in 2 minutes, meet me out back. And it's just a snap reaction. But it's the kind of thing, too, where without it, the job's off.
Yeah.
Right? Macaulay has to go home because he doesn't have enough guys to play the part. So it is a good build-up scene a little bit. And it's to the idea, too, that, how do we say this? Trejo gives the classic line, last thing I want to do is let you down, Neil. I think every person in that crew, that's the maxim they live by. Because Neil is far and away, the brains, the brawn, and the fucking glue that holds this crew together. But the traffic stop with Pacino is hilarious. How you doing? Who does that? Nobody does that, right?
Nobody does
How you
that.
doing?
Let's go get some coffee.
That's it. Oh, you want to go for a cup of coffee? Yeah, sure. Right. And my favorite too is you can see McCully because he's got a pistol, and if he wanted to shoot him dead right there, he probably could get away with it. But he's like, all right, I'll play. I mean, what's this guy gonna do? He's obviously not going straight up cop. He's gonna give me a story, or he's gonna tell me something about him or whatever, and I'm interested because there is the breakdown where he gets the info from John Voight's character about who Vincent is and what he does. So, and I think he's intrigued. So let's dig deeper.
But the whole point of the scene,
the witticism back and forth between these guys in the restaurant is just, it's precious. You know what I mean? It's the shit you watch movies for. And his Macaulay's summarization of that's the discipline. The discipline is nothing fucking matters, and I'm not going back to prison. Right? It's not the women, it's not the money, it's not any of it. I mean,
the freedom.
Michael Chirito says, for me, the action is the juice. Well, you're a fucking cowboy, dude. Neil McCauley is a professional. He's able to disassociate himself from anything because preservation is his only goal. His job is to get the thing done and get out clean, or turn and walk the other direction, because he's not going back.
But here's the problem. He doesn't. This is how they're writing this character. But when it comes down to it, and it's time for self-preservation, he's got his cut of $12 million. His wife, his new girlfriend in the car. They're home free. They're on their way, and he does not follow his own rules. In this diner scene, though, I felt like, thank God these guys showed restraint, because you could see that these were two powerhouses, and when this scene was like written out. It was like one for one. Like, if he gets to fucking get angry, I get angry. And, at one point, like, fucking De Niro probably was like, and then, I lost my brother. And Pacino's like, hey, he said no crying. No one's supposed to be crying in the scene. If he cries, I cry. Like, these, like, the rules they set up for this must have been like contracts were signed. Like, like you could just imagine the rules, so no one was able to upstage the other one during this scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
By the way, Mick, when you said that they haven't been on screen together in a movie prior to this,
one time.
it just hit me because of the crying thing. He was in Godfather, but I don't think they were together because in 2. Thank you. Because
they didn't film together.
Right. Okay. So you're like in the same scene, you mean?
Yeah. The first time they faced each other on screen ever.
And it was great. No,
absolutely.
Wasn't that like a time jump in Godfather 2? One of them was in the past and one of them is in the future.
Because De Niro is Vito Corleone and Pacino is Michael, his son.
Right.
But this scene between the two of them it's magical. It's fucking magic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it.
But it's even to the idea that it's not even the words, it's the phrasing and the eye looks faces, and the physical blocking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, the words are the worst part. Hey, just no, I would not hesitate to take you down. Oh, but I would take you down too. Oh, but I would like to see you try. Oh, but you will. It was like the exposition actually wasn't great. It was the delivery and the faces from these two, 55-year-old superstars in their prime. Oh.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So at 11 a.m., Neil enters the Far East National Bank downtown. While Breeden waits in the car, Neil, Chirito, and Chris take up strategic positions inside the bank's lobby. They overpower the guards, and Neil announces to the customers they will not be harmed. He then punches an uncooperative bank manager in the mouth, grabs the man's vault key, and hands it to Chris. While Neil and Chirito guard the lobby, Chris unlocks the double doors to the vault and unloads a set of empty gym bags and begins packing money into them. Chris loads 3 bags, each containing $4 million, 2 for Neil and 1 for himself. Neil relays 1 bag over to Chirito in the lobby, who removes his ski mask, dons a set of sunglasses, and begins to walk out. Meanwhile, at LAPD headquarters, a detective receives a phone call from Hugh Benny about Neil and his crew planning to rob the bank. All of them, Hannah included, race to the bank. When they arrive, they see that Neil and his crew have already begun to exit the bank. Hannah orders everyone to capture them. At the bank, Neil and his crew quietly leave the bank carrying their bags over their shoulders. Chirito gets into the getaway car, and so does Neil. But as Chris reaches the getaway car, he spots armed detectives standing across the street. In a split second, Chris raises his rifle and opens fire. As bystanders dive for cover, Hannah, stationed just up the sidewalk, opens fire on Chris. The firefight is on. Breeden gets killed. Neil, Chris, and Chirito are forced to get out of the car. I'm not going to break the whole scene down because what is it, 12 minutes long? It's chaos. Eventually, Chris gets shot. Neil carries him towards a grocery store parking lot. There's a lot of shooting with bystanders throwing themselves directly into the line of bullets. And then Neil gets into a car and takes off with Chris. And Shrito takes a kid hostage and Hannah shoots and kills him. It's a big scene.
So Mann actually had these guys go encase a real bank.
Oh, really?
And yes. And so, I mean, he was really trying to get all this right. And you'll remember that LA bank heist where the two robbers dressed themselves
the
in
North
full body
Hollywood
armor.
shootout.
Yes. So very similar. This is a really, really good scene. I mean, it's not very realistic because, I mean, Tony, you were a cop, so you know that the police can't be as, cowboy as they're being here. They're just firing a million shots, and there's no way that fucking Pacino was going to take that shot and shoot the dude in the head while he's holding a little girl in his arms. He can't take that shot, right?
Technically, yes. Put it this way: it's all about the idea of what you can articulate, and in a use of force situation, these guys have shown no compunction that anyone is safe. He's going to claim that my skills and abilities were good enough to the point where I can do that. Can he really do it? Well, you better have some fucking balls of steel. Yeah, it's a movie, so you're never going to miss in a movie. So you're good. Can he really do it? Yeah, that's a shitty call because you don't want to ever fuck up, right?
Yeah. Gotcha.
So
yeah.
Cool.
And true story, I was once in a bank making a deposit for a work, like a job that I was doing, and the guy in line in front of me robbed the bank.
Oh, right.
wow.
Yeah, as soon as he walked out, the lady hit the button and said, I just got robbed, and all the doors locked, and we had to stay.
Really?
And I had
They got to interview everybody.
Yeah, it was pre-cell phone, so I had to use one of the bank manager's phone because I was the manager of the New England comic. So I had to call my boss and be like, so the store's not open because I am locked in the bank next door.
Oh, wow.
And we got robbed.
And they got robbed, and I'm locked in the bank, and they won't let me go until they they interview me. So I was there for like 2 hours.
Wow. All right.
That's crazy.
All right. Keep it moving. All right. On we go. Neil takes Chris to a cooperative doctor named Bob who treats Chris's wound. Neil arranged for Nate to pick up Chris and keep him hidden until Neil can find another way for them to escape LA. Chris is heavily sedated after having his wound treated, but tells Neil he won't leave without Charlene. Neil tells him that he believes it was Trejo who betrayed them and he has to find him. He goes to kill Trejo, but Trejo is pretty much already dead. In his final moments, Trejo tells Neil that Waingro and Van Zandt are responsible. At Van Zandt's house, Neil throws a patio chair through the living room window and demands to know where Waingro is. When Van Zandt doesn't tell him anything, he kills him. Charlene and her son have been moved to a safe house, and they press her to turn on Chris. Chris eventually shows up, sporting a new hairstyle to disguise his identity. However, despite their marital problems, she warns him that the police are present. The two share one last emotional look before Chris gets back in his car and drives away. Waingro is basically bait for Neil. He's at the airport hotel. Hannah knows it. Everyone knows it. Every criminal on the street knows that that's where Waingro is, and they're going to wait for Neil to show up. So this scene with Neil and Edie is so fucking weird to me. This is the scene where he tells her who he is and what he's about, and she runs because she's scared. And he chases her up a hill, and
she sucks.
She's terrified of him, and I don't get the point of this romance. I get the point of the romance that it's trying to show that he's trying to find something new to do with his life. Or I don't know. It's so weird. And she's scared, and he's giving her money, and I'm like, what? This is so weird. This is so weird.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I just feel like first of all, I hate that character. I think she sucks.
Yeah.
And honestly, she was unnecessary. They could have left that whole relationship out of the movie, and he still could have got fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There was no reason for her character to be in the film.
Right.
And I just lost my train of thought. I'm
It's
so
okay,
sorry.
Nick.
He's so
I
hung up on
completely.
the 30-second thing. I'll walk away from anything in 30 seconds.
Right.
And this whole thing
Yes.
is to prove his point. He finds this new romance. He really likes her. They're going to go to New Zealand, and he sees, Pacino coming, and he leaves her there. So I get it. It's kind of proving the point but the thing is that we've watched him through this entire movie do things that are against his creed. So
Right.
all of a sudden, like him not living up to the creed now is no different than what he's been doing.
Right.
Right. And oddly too, these two are diametrically opposed. I mean, they make her out to be this country bumpkin where I'm Scots Irish from Appalachia and da da da. Then you went to Parsons in New York City. I'm sure you got an education there. And then you moved to LA where you're still kind of, a hillbilly, and it's just weird. I don't see any attraction to one another at all.
Yeah.
I mean, and Neil's a real serious guy, and she's just kind of flighty and fruity and just out there.
Yeah.
She falls in love. She falls in love with a mob guy, basically under false pretenses. And by the time she finds out who he is, he's already decided that she's either going to be with him or he's going to kill her. And she knows this. She's not free to leave, even though he says, if you want to leave right now. She knows she's not free to leave. She's not about this. She's terrified when she finds out the psychopath she's with, and she's afraid to leave. Period. That's it. In my opinion.
Yep. I agree. It was him chasing her up that weird little hill and like knocking her down. It's so weird. It made me very uncomfortable.
It didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It made me very, like, I'd be like, okay, fucking bitch, bye, and get back in my car and head out,
Right. And you know what, too? Like, they also like, his whole thing was you have to be able to walk away in 30 seconds. And he's been saying that throughout the whole movie. So we don't even need that relationship to show that he can, you know what I mean? He can just go. Yeah. He could just fucking go.
Yeah. Exactly.
But he's forced to make the call at the end, and he does walk away in 30 seconds. So
gone in 30 seconds.
It's so stupid. The end of the movie is terrible.
Not even a Mustang.
Oh my God. All right. So somehow Hannah's stepdaughter gets into his hotel room and slits her wrist in the bathtub. It's so weird. It's a fucking weird, distracting thing to write into this movie. I don't get it. But okay, moving on.
Fucking garbage.
Upon receiving a tip concerning Wingrow's whereabouts from Nate, thanks to Nate's police contacts, Neil makes the impulsive decision to kill him in the airport hotel room. After setting off the hotel's emergency alarm to clear the area, Neil breaks in and executes Wingrow, then escapes after disarming a stakeout device. From a distance, Hannah spots Edie calmly waiting in Neil's car. Recalling the 30 seconds discussion that he and Neil had at the coffee shop, Hannah becomes suspicious and approaches her. At that moment, Neil emerges from the building and begins heading for the car, only to realize that Hannah has spotted him. Hannah grabs a shotgun and begins moving towards Neil. At this critical and emotional moment, Neil defaults to his 30-second rule and abandons Edie. He disappears into the crowd with Hannah in pursuit. Dude goes through a lot of trouble for this girl just to leave her, but okay. I mean, it's just... Ay. So let's just go right through to the end. Neil jumps over the perimeter fence of the airport and heads to the freight terminal. Hannah is close behind, and the two play a tense game of cat and mouse in the dark. Neil notices that the bright runway lights turn on periodically for landing planes. Realizing that Hannah will be temporarily blinded, he makes a move to take out Hannah. However, as Neil steps out to shoot with the lights at his back, Hannah is able to see his shadow and shoots first, hitting Neil in the shoulder. Hannah quickly gains clear sight of Neil, and knowing he will not go quietly, Did he shoot him several times in the chest, or did this person make this up? I don't know. He just shoots him once.
In the chest, but he didn't shoot himself.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Hannah, knowing that he has more in common with Neil than anyone else in his life, moves to comfort him. The two men share a final reflective moment before Neil dies. The end.
Whole end of this movie is fucking terrible. First of all, they've got the stakeout. Charlene, she's already proven through this movie that she doesn't give a fuck about Chris. She's done with this guy. She's been done with this guy since 10 minutes into the movie, which is why I never buy this love. Chris is also, in 2 seconds, one little spat, he's throwing things through the fucking mantle and walking out on her and sleeping on Neil's floor. This is terrible. They tell her, we're going to take your fucking child from you unless you fucking give us Chris. She doesn't care about Chris. She loves the kid. This isn't even a decision. She's going to sell this guy out for her kid in 2 seconds. And even if she decides to give the little sign so Chris can get away, he's not getting past the roadblock. We've got this sweaty, bloated, shot guy who stopped in front of the safe house, made eye contact with Charlene. And the cop's like, I don't know. I don't think it's him. I mean, he's some sweaty, violent-looking criminal that looks like I don't think it's him. He's like, fuck it, let him go. No, don't let him go. Take him downtown. Let's double-check this shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
Hey, Des. I hate to tell you, we have this thing called the Constitution, and
No.
we can't just take people downtown to take
No,
them.
you can. Yeah,
This is
listen,
why he's
Even the
not
bad
doing
guys
all
have
that.
rights in America,
No.
man. Come on.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. They could have found something on him to get him out of
Oh,
that
look,
car.
I dropped this dope in your car. Up,
Yeah.
you're under arrest.
This is heat. There's no way this guy is getting
Again,
away. He's the guy.
it's artistic license because it's expeditious to the plot.
He's
Okay,
the
You're
guy.
right. No, you're
He's
right.
the guy.
How do you look at each other and then she gets you the little wavy wave and then all of a sudden, nope, that's not him. Okay,
No.
you say so.
And Neil starts getting dumber and dumber as this movie goes on. It's so obvious. Everybody in the whole fucking city knows that what room Wango's in now. It's so obvious. It's a trap.
Yeah.
But
Not only that, but
you see the police officers. He knows his police officers because he sees the shotgun underneath the welcome
Yeah,
desk or whatever.
that's
you call
it.
it.
Mhm.
Abandoned mission.
Abandoned
I'll catch him
ship.
down the line.
Get back on get back in the car and leave. Yeah, but no,
this guy's going to turn up again.
Again, with the logic and the reasoning, cut that out. It's his
Hey,
name,
no.
Macaulay.
Hold on. So here's the deal.
Nope.
What you need to do is this. Do you want to tell me that you're just going to randomly take a guy into police custody, protective custody, and you're not going to test his fingerprints or his DNA to see if he's done anything naughty lately so that
Like
you
if
shouldn't
he's
be
the
protecting him?
the
Or he's
serial
a
killer?
serial killer. So my thought is this. This is how you take their DNA or you take their fingerprints, you put him in the protective custody without him knowing that you've done this. Fucking Neil and his girlfriend get on the plane and leave fucking off to La La Land or wherever they're going. And fucking Hannah gets the thing saying, matches your serial killer. He goes in there and shoots the guy. And that's how we end the movie.
Yes. Vincent should have killed Wango because this now would start making his relationship with Lauren really start to come together. You know, I have a daughter this age. You're a scumbag. You're killing little girls. And he kills them and even could plant to make it look like one of Neil's guys did it. And then he goes and he fucking bitch slaps the dad and, whatever. But
Who's actually
this isn't-
Wingro. Wingro's the dad.
But none of this matters because Neil is not going to the hotel. He is in the car. He has $4 million. He is free. Fucking John Voight tells us, hey, you're home free. You did it. Goddamn right I did. And then he's like, I'm going to go to the hotel and kill the guy now. Gets to the hotel. Oh, I see a bunch of undercover cops here, but maybe I could still get in and it's like, no, just stop.
He's breaking his own rules.
Right.
Every
Well,
single
and
one.
nothing personal, but you got to remember, Neil Macaulay as a human breaks rules.
So there is a line in the diner between them where Vincent, where De Niro says to Al Pacino, barbecues and baseball games. It's not for me. Rather, I just want to spend my life being chased and go out in a blaze of glory. And that's the only pass I'll give this final scene is that he's in the car with I don't even know what the fuck her name is.
Edie.
But he's
Edie.
in the car with
Right.
Edie. He's home free. And he realizes, okay, this is a setup. Vincent knows that I'm coming for Wango. And you know what? I don't want the perfect life with Edie. I don't want the barbecue and baseball games. I don't want book night. I'm going for it. And I'm
Right.
going to have this shootout with Vincent, and we're going to find out once and for all who's got the heat.
Right on.
I don't know.
No, I think you're really spot on because nothing personal, but Macaulay's always relied on his own guile, wit, and ability, and that's what he does here. He's like,
Yes.
you know what? Fuck LAPD. I'm better than them.
Oh,
I'm going to go
and-
get my guy because that's what I fucking do. This guy personally offended me, and the penalty for that is death. And I'm the fucking Grim Reaper coming to take your
And
your
the
soul.
way he looks at it is, and how great is this? Let's do a comparison between the end of this and fucking the one we did with Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday. So this is fucking Wyatt Earp. Holliday says you can't win. If you go there, you're going to die. But what does Wyatt Earp do? He goes.
Sure.
He's got to have that final showdown. I have to know. And I love that. And this
Yep.
is where we're going to get our Western ending. They have an old-fashioned shootout in the middle of the street, and it's great. The
Right.
problem is those airports, so they light it up so much there is no shadow. There wouldn't have been a shadow. Macaulay figures it out first that whenever a plane comes in, the field is going to get lit up by the lights in the field and the plane. But he doesn't get the jump. Vincent gets the jump because of a stupid shadow. I didn't like this ending. I didn't like Vincent winning. I'll be honest with you. I wanted Macaulay to win.
Well, I like your candor. Was it
wanted
because
Macaulay.
you just thought Macaulay was a better character, or was it because you're really just a crooked heart?
I really liked Macaulay. I felt like he was like when he makes him in the shipyard, when he makes the cops,
Mhm.
that's where I decided which of the two I was going to side with and who I wanted to win this. And I just wanted Macaulay. I just thought he was a more clever character.
I gotcha.
Kind of a
I
deep
think they
cut.
both could have won.
Yeah, I like the grittiness and the reality of both of the characters, because if you have worked in either side, I mean, not that criminals advertise what they do, but it's the idea that, you know, they are absolutely dedicated to their profession. They're the same person, just in different segments.
Right.
And, you know, it's a great showdown. I was a little sad that Macaulay doesn't get a more kind of, I don't want to say glorious, but how about a cleaner, better death? You're right. It's kind of cheap. It's kind of luck versus skill. And the whole movie is all about the skills of these two guys. And then it comes down to just one got a little advantage because of some dumb shit, and the other guy buys it.
Now,
Yeah.
But I do love the fact that he puts his hand up and they kind of, you know, you're not going to die alone, which I think is also a weird kind of recurring theme in this movie, because at one point Edie asks De Niro, don't you feel lonely? Don't you get lonely? Something like that. And he goes, I am alone, but I am not lonely, which is a complete fucking lie. But it's the idea that he can justify damn near anything in his head. So that's what he tells her. And she immediately says, well, I get lonely. And that's the cue that they're going to start the relationship, because they're really the same.
I didn't like the hand-holding ending of this. What I wanted, if you're going to do this for an ending, I want one of those endings that kind of it guts you and it's really dark. And the ending they should have had is Vincent should have clipped him. He should have clipped him, Macaulay, like not mortally, you know, like a shoulder shot, but with, you know, he's down and he's lost and he's laying there in the field. And basically Vincent is saying, you know, you're going to prison for life now. You know, I got you. You're going to prison for life. And Macaulay says, you know, look away. Give me a minute. And, you know, and Vincent lets him kill himself with his own gun, you know? And that's the ending of the movie. Like, you're not taking me alive. You know, I told you in the diner, I'm never going back.
And I meant it.
Maybe Vincent says, you know what? I won't call the ambulance, you know, do it. Do what you got to do. Holds him there at gunpoint and says, if you want to use your gun on yourself, I won't stop you.
Right on.
And that would be a very dark.
Honestly, I like both of your perspective endings better than the real one. So
honestly, another good one would have been if they, and this maybe would have been kind of cliche, but they could have taken each other out.
That's a double knockout.
Nobody wins.
I don't know. Oh God.
Boy, I tell you, we went from altered ending to holy shit. Nice job, Nick.
Okay. All right.
Let's hit the recasting couch.
We did it. Okay. Mikki, who are you recasting?
All right. I recast 3 people. The first one is I recast Val Kilmer's character with Colin Farrell.
Oh,
interesting.
Okay.
The second one is Al Pacino's wife, Justine. I thought that Vera Farmiga would have been a good character choice for that.
Please tell our listeners who they might know her from.
She was in The Conjuring.
Okay.
She was in Up in the Air. She's been in a lot of things. She's a really good actress. And then for Edie, Robert De Niro's girlfriend, I thought Jennifer Garner would have been a good choice for that.
Oh, nice. I like
Jennifer
that. Garner. Okay,
Thanks.
Delynn, what do you got?
All right, I just did 2. I replaced Val Kilmer with Brad Pitt from like Legends of the Fall era.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I think that would be a nice. And then I replaced Tom Sizemore with Mickey Rourke.
Okay, interesting.
Oh.
Interesting, because I have Mickey Rourke in mine as well, but
Oh,
not
do
for
you?
that character. But not for that character.
Tell me this
Not
is
for that
Mickey
character.
Rourke in the 90s when he was still cool, like Harley
Yes.
Davidson
Yes.
Marlboro Man, not the
Yes.
one with the big lips and the fucked up
Correct.
head.
Correct.
Yeah,
It
no,
has
no,
to-
and he's
that's-
got the weirdest fingers too. Have you noticed his fingers?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're
No.
creepy
The
as
only
hell.
Mickey Rourke there is Rumblefish, and
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Mickey
Yeah,
Rourke.
before he went off the deep end. Yeah,
Yeah.
10-4.
All right, so Tony, what do you got for a recast?
I thought I could do better. Apparently, I'm drawing a blank lately, but I did recast Amy Brennerman's character, who is Edie. I wanted somebody because she was, this Appalachia girl done good, who was stock and trade, and it was a tie for me between Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams, because they have to be kind of Neil's girl. They have to be kind of
Right.
hot, kind of sexy, but they have to be in every girl type. You know what I mean? It's not supermodel stuff. So you can take your pick on that. I'll give you some options. I had to recast Henry Rollins, much as I enjoy him as a musician, performer, singer. I figured pretty much anybody who had a SAG card could have done a better fucking job than he did. So I'll leave it open to whoever you'd like, because
I have something.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would. I thought he was probably one of the first people you recast.
I have to say though, honey, that when you said Amy Adams, she was actually one of the people I was considering for Edie.
Well, there you go. Great minds think alike, darling.
Yeah.
What else?
So,
all right, honey. So I am going to recast the entire movie, and this is very well thought out.
All 82 actors? Holy smokes.
10 actors.
10
actors.
We're going to
that
be
are
here
gonna
for an
make
hour.
This is going to
That's
make
right.
this movie 100 times better. Here we go. Number one, I would replace Val Kilmer with a young, good-looking Mickey Rourke. Perfect for that character.
Okay.
Number two, I would recast William Fichtner, who plays the investment banker, with James Woods. You might recognize him as the bad guy from Against All Odds. Very, very good actor.
James Woods has been the bad guy in about 100 movies. Yep.
Yes,
Gotcha.
really good. Ted Sizemore, I'm going to replace him with Gary Oldman. I think that he would deliver that exposition in ways Ted Sizemore could only dream of. I am taking number 4 will be Kevin Gage. He plays the serial killer. I'm replacing him with Willem Dafoe. Come on. That is incredible. Willem Dafoe eats. Yeah, it's amazing. Diana Venora, Vincent's wife. I'm replacing her with Demi Moore. Just a better actor all around. And she's going to bring that.
You've literally blown all of the fucking the money already on the cast, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Keep going.
John Voight is going to be replaced with one James Caan. Just a better actor. Same idea.
Okay.
I'm replacing Henry Rollins with James Gandolfini, someone that would be giving you that really intimidating look without saying a word.
Sure.
Tone Loc, I'm replacing him with another R&B artist that has a really strong acting background. I want to see Prince in that role. I think Prince delivers lines.
LL Cool J.
Too goofy.
No, LL Cool J. He's a good actor.
I saw him in Deep Blue Sea. Hey, bird! Hey, bird! I don't know.
No.
I'm okay.
He's like,
that's a great impression. I liked it.
Thank you. And are you guys ready for the big two? Because these two are going to blow your fucking mind.
You're going to fuck with the two main characters in this movie?
I'm going to give you two that are going to make this movie.
Just because you had to fuck with all of it. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. So I would stop right there and leave Pacino and De Niro, and this is a amazing movie. But I'm going to go ahead and change it all the way. So we're going to take out Al Pacino. We're going to put in Denzel Washington as the cop. So good. Denzel has so much fucking...
It's man on fire in a different movie. I got you.
Yes, and I'm going to replace Robert De Niro with a mature Sean Penn. Oh, imagine Penn going up against fucking Denzel.
No, that's the only one I'll fight you on. Sean Penn doesn't have the fucking skills, baby.
Oh, he does.
What?
No,
you put Penn at that diner.
He's still punching cameramen and doing goofy shit.
No, you put an older, more mature Sean Penn at that diner scene with Denzel Washington saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Sean Penn, I believe him. He will eat your face. He's a bad motherfucker.
He will eat your face.
Okay.
Okay, Ted Levine gets that role now because he will technically eat your face.
Literally.
Oh my god.
Okay. That was a heated discussion. Everybody got very excited.
Nice.
I love that.
By the way, nobody said it, but Mickey pointed out to me that Michael Williamson, who is the Sergeant Drucker, the cop that's with Charlene for most of the scenes. Hey, he was Bubba from Forrest Gump, and I'm like, yeah, guy's got some range.
He does.
So.
Like, I'm looking here. He was in Forrest Gump. He was in 12 Angry Men. He was in Con Air with Nicolas Cage. Ooh, Nicolas Cage. That might have been a good role for Tom.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. He's a cheese bag. No, thank you.
Yes,
maybe as a replacement for Tom Sizemore's character,
that's what
but
I'm
he's
saying.
not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he's an extra in the bank. All right. So guys,
Cage.
Tony, what would you rather do? Would you rather do Rumblefish or The Bad Lieutenant?
Help me. I'm doing it as an actor, you mean?
No, for this movie podcast.
Oh, golly. Wow. I'm going to go with Rumblefish only because Bad Lieutenant is just, it's hard, abrasive.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot to say, but it's just.
Like Tony, when he pulls the girls over on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Doing on the side of the car.
There's a lot wrong with all of it. You know what I mean?
And
but that's Keitel. You know what I mean? He doesn't take a role. I was surprised Tarantino even got him to do Mr. Wolf because it's so basic.
That
you know what I mean? He's a guy with 1,000 facets. He doesn't want to just read lines and spit them back on camera, dude.
Bad Lieutenant is like XXX naughty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Violent, sexual.
I mean, when he gets pissed off at the ball game because he lost all that money gambling and shoots the fucking car radio, just classic.
So good. All right, let's do Rumblefish next. Come on, it's an artistic movie that needs to be reviewed. Rusty James, my favorite Matt Dillon character of all times.
I'm glad to see you're not biased at all. That's excellent.
Yeah, little Mickey Rourke. Yeah,
do it. All right.
Okay. All right. That Rumblefish. That's our next movie. Okay, let's do final thoughts. Mickey, final thoughts and score. And have you seen Rumblefish?
I saw Rumblefish like when it first came out.
Okay, so that's a no. You don't remember anything about it.
I don't remember anything about it.
Go ahead. Rumblefish. Yes or no?
Can we just do the scores?
Have you seen
wrap
it?
this up?
Have you seen it?
Yes, you made me sit through it. Don't you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Made me sit through it.
And by made you mean he duct taped you to the chair. Got it.
Legitimately. I was like, I don't want to watch this. He's like, sit down and watch it. I'm like, oh my God.
She watched a little
or else.
No, I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing.
How does it end?
I don't remember because I blocked it out.
Okay, she's never seen it.
Yes, I have.
Okay, moving right along.
Can we just score this bitch, please?
Who plays the motorcycle boy? You've never
Stop
seen
Obviously, we know it's you, Des.
Okay, go ahead.
Was your first role?
Well, this is the dysfunctional part of this podcast. Look at the way she's so angry.
Oh, golly.
Go ahead.
Wrap
Mickey.
it up.
Mickey score.
Wiki, wrap it up.
143.
Okay. Final thoughts. I do enjoy this movie a lot. And I was telling Tony last night the scene where Ashley Judd, just the very subtle to Val Kilmer's character. That scene, besides the coffee scene with De Niro and Pacino, for some reason that scene with Ashley Judd stuck out to me the most. I'd say all in all, I love the shootout scene. You know, like we talked about, there's a lot of things that could have been left out. I think my rewatch score would be 2.5.
2.5, right in the middle. She's calling this movie average. Tony, what is your score?
I really enjoy the film. I think it's one of Michael Mann's kind of stock and trade good films. You know, he did, Jesus, now that I'm trying to think of it. Tom Cruise does a movie where he's a killer. Jamie Foxx is the cab driver. My brain is shut off now. Shit.
That's what Des looks like Tom Cruise in that movie right now.
He does. He has the same hair. Yeah.
I wish.
It's like Collateral or something.
Collateral, correct. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, you're on top of it tonight.
Good movie.
Okay. She bailed me out. Good job.
Good movie.
Long and the short, even with Miami Vice, his version of Miami Vice, I thought it was, he does a classic style. I like it, especially because I'm a product of that 80s, 90s, kind of jazz. Long and the short of the point, I'm going to give it a solid 3.25 because it does have a lot of issues.
Lynn, at your reward score, she's so ready.
It's like I said before, this is a 3-hour-long movie that has an hour and a half of super solid, amazing writing. You could take that other hour and a half out and have a way better movie. I feel like the editing, I feel like somebody was like, Michael Mann, you can do anything. Just go ahead. And like Tony said, it was a 4.5-hour-long movie and they had to cut it by an hour. It's like, there was so much that was not necessary and you could still tell the same story with the same amount and maybe more impact because you wouldn't have gotten so lost in the sauce of all these other things going on. I give it a 2.3.
Okay. So here's the deal with this movie. Come on. De Niro, Pacino, Mann. This is way above an average movie. This is 4.01. You have to show this movie respect. Even if it's crazy and misguided, you got to show this movie respect. It's a 4.01.
If you say so.
Oh, it is. I do.
All right.
Tony,
so
I'm
that
sorry.
means...
I spaced out. Tony, what did you give it for a rewatch score? I totally zoned out for a minute.
He gave it a 3.25.
Okay, thanks.
By the way, that was more than a minute ago, so kind of try and keep up, okay? We love you. What the hell? When I talk, woman, you listen. All right, was that out loud?
It was, but that's okay.
Moving right along.
So that gives us a score of 3.015, which puts it at number 48.
That's not bad. I mean, that's middle of the road for us.
Yeah, it's kind of middle of the road. 3.015. Yeah. That means it is just above Trick or Treat and just under Don't Look Up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Don't Look Up is, I don't know, man. This is better than both of those movies. What? All right, so we've done it. We've broken down Heat for you. It's just under an hour less than the movie. All right. Check in with us for Breaking Vinyl. I don't know what the album's going to be next week because we haven't recorded Breaking Vinyl yet. So usually we do this podcast after Breaking Vinyl. So surprise yourself. Show up. But we will be back next week on this show with Original Flavor Tony, where we will be discussing the early 80s version of Bad Boys. So this is the one with Sean Penn.
Yes. The good version of Bad Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yes. So we're gonna give it to you like a pillowcase full of Coke cans.
Nice.
All right, Tony, Mickey, thanks so much for joining Delyn and I for this dysfunctional night of yelling and rambling, and yeah, it was nice.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Let's do it again soon.
That's right. We will, or we do Rumblefish. All right, guys.
That was a death metal version.
Rusty James.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm turning it off now.
Hey, did you ever see that